could be.
Let me see.
Actually, I'm going to go on.
See if I can keep it stable like this.
It's pretty bright.
Hey Antonio. Hey Drachika.
Hi.
Hey Mike.
Hi everyone, how's everything?
Good, good. I just quickly set up everything because in 5 minutes time.
Yeah.
I was playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
The only thing by now is to drive you away from that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been hacking a bit in the morning on the CV stuff, but.
Yeah.
So how have you been? There's some feedback somewhere, I think.
Is it me? Could be me.
I'm thinking it might be you, Mike.
I'm going to mute. Let me know.
Okay, let me just try talking.
Okay.
Yeah, this is much better.
Yeah, I think it's Mike.
Hey, Shane. Yeah, he's probably just listening in without microphone, right? Cool.
How's that?
Okay, let's try again, see what happens. Well, it's faint in the background. It's much better than before.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike, without a headset, there's only so much one can do, huh?
Actually, my laptop works better. I'll switch to that. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. So Shane, we've done this before where people didn't have a webcam or a microphone. If you have anything to add or ask or remark, then just type it in the chat to the left and pick it up. So, what have you been up to, Antonia? Something interesting?
Yeah. I'm with very much thing happening all at the same time.
I know the
yeah.
feeling.
Oui. But eigen-wise, been trying to as always dive into El Canto and come up with very neat connections and stuff like that, and things I miss. I know how to do run scripts from the percussion keys, stuff like that, and I'm always discovering new things to come up, trying to help everyone at the forum also.
Yeah, you're doing a great job at that.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, I never. It's a very new experience for me because I never take this like something I enjoy doing, and in trying to everyone feel the same way and not give up at the first things that don't work so well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, true hacker spirit is that.
A bit, yeah. I've always been okay. I play with a lot of people around, but this is a new experience. Trying to help everyone or who I can through a forum, and because I feel I can know a little bit and try to let everyone know what I know by now.
Yes, well, it's very helpful. Yeah. So, Drachika, I've seen some of your experiments. I think cool stuff.
Yeah. I'm writing a drawing program for Eigenharp,
Yeah.
which isn't actually the end point. The end point would be to have it to be a multimedia controller, more or less, visual and other stuff. And I'm doing it in processing because that's the one it's easiest in, so I'm prototyping. And I hope that I get an arpeggiator working.
Right.
Somehow. It's a little bit, the problem is the OSC stuff gives a lot of data. The graphic needs 30 frames per second, and the physics engine I want to put in needs 60 frames per second, and now I have to get these layers really nice playing together.
Yes. Oh, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, can I ask?
Sure.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes.
For the OSC stuff.
Yes,
Just
I'll
one.
try my best because we really hacked that together in a very short amount of
No,
time.
I just need to know the roll and draw are from -1 to 1.
Yes.
Is this correct?
Yes.
The pressure is from 0 to 1.
Yes.
Okay, what is the activation doing except, I mean, there is this value of 2.0. What does this mean? I mean, if it's 0, nothing happens.
0.5 and 1 normally, I think. Or it could be, well, there are some intermediate values. I don't know the exact ones, but it's basically if it's a soft press or a hard press, or so if there is data on the activation signal, it means that the key was pressed. If it's a soft press, the data will be less than 1, and if it's a hard press, it will be nearer to 1. I'll have to look at the values exactly. But there's a couple of fixed values. You'll probably see them appear.
Okay.
So the reason why that basically is used is when you use the browse keys and you go, so when you use the browser and control them from the scroll keys, when it's a difference when you press soft or hard, the same as when you type bel canto on the Eigenharp. While you're typing a note, a word, you play soft. When you do the last key of the word, you tap hard. So that's how we detect that.
And the last one is, does Eigenharp know if it has an alpha, a pico, or a tau attached?
Sorry, I didn't. You cut out a little bit.
Does Eigenharp, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Does Eigenharp know if it's an alpha, a pico, or a tau attached?
I don't. Eigenharp, well, you basically create a manager for the instruments, and which detects the presence of the instruments, but then it becomes a keyboard, which by itself doesn't really say what kind of instrument it is, apart from the row layout that is being sent down as a.
But the keyboard should actually know how many keys it has.
It does. So
okay,
yes.
so I can use that.
Yes.
It's just
that's something, but I'm not sure that that's sent out over OSC. It's something we call the control stream. Yeah, it's something we call the control stream, and the control stream contains kind of more global data that doesn't change all the time, like scale, tonic, octave, keyboard layout, coarse offsets, and stuff like that.
Okay,
but that's all changing. You have to be aware of that. If you're going to tie into that part, in 2.0, everything is different.
Okay.
Because instead of, that was one of the key things of restructuring in 2.0. Instead of having everything tied to the physical key, there is now a physical and a logical key that's being sent down a key stream, so that we can always attach things to either one of them. So if you, for example, attach a talker to the last logical key on a row, and you change the size of your key group, then it will automatically change the position of the talker, for example, instead of having to redo everything based on the physical key and having to figure out where that physical key is based on the key group. And so
it's just because I have to map the key naturally to get the range, the key number. Yes. And I just have to know how many key numbers there will be. There's
right. Well, what you can do basically is, I think that in the OSC commands there is the key number is basically the number of the event ID, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have the key number, but the question is, when I map them, let's say for the position, do I have to map for 18 keys, or do I have to map for 120 keys?
Yeah, it depends on. Yeah, you have to be able to do 132 on the alpha.
Okay, 132. Yeah, so that's what I can't put it manually, but I just wanted to know if there would be something that.
Well, not sent out over OSC, but you can hack it together. I think that if you look at adding some kind of a new input to the OSC agent that takes a control stream, and then and
Yeah,
then
I
tie
thought
that
about
up.
something like
Yeah,
this.
and then tie that up to the keyboard agent, and then you should get a string with. I think that in 1.4 it's still a string with the length of the courses, and then from there on you could detect what kind of keyboard it is.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
My questions for now are done.
So Shane, are you playing the Eigenharp, or are you just interested, or do you have any questions, or? It's the good thing that we see. Oh, wasn't you sure? Okay. The Eigenharp is a musical instrument, in case you didn't know. That's a small one. It's a pico.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you also ordered something new, I saw. An Indian thing.
Oh yeah, I actually ordered that quite a while ago. It seems that buying something from India is interesting.
I imagine.
I will never forget this true story of when an Indian restaurant. To me, it really deep, paints a nice picture of some Indian mindsets. Not all of them, but there's an Indian restaurant where I used to go in Brussels, and I went there quite often. And it was very hot, and I asked if they could open the door while we were eating, and the waitress that was not very happy to work. She really didn't like working at all. I think work in particular. And so basically what she did was she stepped up to the door, but it's a door that automatically closes. So she opened the door and she just let it go so that it closed again. And that was it. She did her part. She did what I asked for. She opened the door.
Okay.
Anyways, it's an interesting looking instrument. Wes Lamb also makes something similar in the States, but he puts the sympathetic strings sideways across.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never really run into them, except I started listening to a guy called Harry Manx, who is just a really interesting guitar player. So, anyways, I think I probably posted some Harry Manx on G+.
I saw. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I saw the picture of your instrument there. I don't think I remember.
Yeah, that's just from their website. We'll see if it ever gets here. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
So how
And
did
somebody
you order
present. Yeah, somebody present spent some more of my money. I just got a set of audio cubes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I haven't got them doing much yet, except being different colors.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can use them as desk lamps.
That's true.
They are not even they are not really expensive as a desk lamp.
Yeah.
I have seen much more expensive ones.
It's true. Yeah. I was looking at them a while ago, but then I got kind of turned off by the range, because you really have to.
Yeah, it's not far.
You get close to them to be able to work with it, and it seems not very suited for. I want to use it for the band, for our pop rock band, but it seemed a little bit too intimate to work with.
Well, it probably depends on whether you want to use them as an input or an output device.
Right.
And so one of the things I wanted to do with them was actually use them as an output device, so I could sort of visualize some settings that, like with foot pedals.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to use them with, and Bert claims I can do both of these. He might rue the day that he sold me these things, because I'll pester him, is as an alternative to a foot controller.
So to put your foot closer or further from it, or use your hand instead?
Well,
or?
yeah. So or position them with respect to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my problem is, in the winter I have really no space for things like a large set of pedal boards, but I have a lot of them. So I was sort of hoping I could displace some of the hardware with the audio cubes.
Right. I'm wondering how you see this working. Are you planning on using them with your hands? Still?
I'm not sure about that. I might just boot them around the floor.
Right.
Yeah, Drahige, he mentioned about that, and I got also curious to use this on the floor. Maybe
It works.
it works. Yeah, maybe it's nice to use them on the floor.
Maybe you should make some audio balls.
That's not a bad thought.
You
Yeah.
could just get them rolling around.
I have to think about that also, to put them on the floor. Maybe with the feet we can come up with new things. Yeah, I think. I never tried this, but yeah, yeah, it's probably nice.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're the type who uses a heavy-duty set of pedals, they're fairly large and clunky, and you should be able to get, like half a dozen control signals out of a set of audio cubes, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, what I found, the thing with pedals though, well, I use quite a bit of pedals when I play the guitar on stage, and I try to replace them with the soft step pedal board, which is compact
we talked
and
about
sturdy, and the thing with it though is that it's too fine grained. It's you have to be too careful to work with it, to not to really grab hold of exactly what you want to do. While with the big volume foot pedal and the large knobs that you can just step on. If you're on stage and playing live and you're just getting into it, you don't want to start worrying about okay, how far can I go, and do I don't I risk booting it off the stage or something like that. So that's one thing that I realized, is that for me, working with foot pedal, it really needs to be big and clunky and sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually using a Pod HD 500, which, if you were to try and boot it off the stage, you'd simply break a toe.
Yeah.
But if you like sturdy, Gert, probably you should try the foot, the soft step. That's the small one with the joystick.
I have the
You
soft
have
step.
it?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Because I
It's too
found
small.
it at the
It's too
concert, it's too small and it's too unresponsive.
Yes.
You can't just stab it. You have really to look at it.
Yes. So that's why I'm never using it. It just sits here. I tried it and it was almost immediately obvious that it was too fiddly.
Yeah. What we're talking about is the reason that my wife is an eBay expert. She can sell anything.
Nice.
I buy it, I decide it's not useful, and she sells it.
Well, I still keep hoping to be able to use it for something sometime. I was kind of hoping of maybe starting to use it as an instrument, maybe. It's like some kind of replace this Moog Taurus. Just do something like it, with the feet, get some drone sounds going. Maybe that could work. I don't know. No, you tried that?
Yeah, that's what I tried. I actually just wanted it to switch between scenes. And I just needed one push, and it should be... I didn't want, range or something. I just wanted one push and stay there. And I had a real problem getting it there.
And do you have
to say, okay, I step on it and you change, and it changes the scene in live or something like this.
Right.
The one device that is really good is the Moog MP201 foot pedal, because it'll output either MIDI controls, MIDI notes, or control voltages. It's got one pedal, but it's got 4 channels of control.
Yeah.
So it's as you say, Gert, it's a really solid device that is appropriate to move with your foot. Like, you can position it and keep a steady input number without it wandering around the values that you've set.
Right.
And it works in just about any context. And in addition, you can like basically you can output MIDI control LFOs and things like that, which can be very useful.
Yes, yes. I'm using what I'm using now is, well, it suits me. So, but I was what is it called again? Ground control. I was hoping for something a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm searching for. There's a guy in Belgium that builds some amazing pedal boards. The price is, I
That's the
think
one I'm using
it's
now.
yeah.
Together
Oh,
with some volume. No, I just pasted the link. Together with some volume pedals to the side.
yeah.
And what are you talking about?
I'm searching. I cannot find it. I don't know. Something giant. It's not giant. The G, I think. I can find it.
But it's amazing how expensive these things are for just a bunch of foot switches.
Yeah. Of
So
course,
I
this.
thought about making one myself.
Yeah.
But the
This soldering is not good enough.
the programmability of this one, I think it's amazing. That you can. I wish I could find it. But,
I'm just looking for. So 201, right, Mike?
Yeah, they've just discontinued it. But it's not at all. It's worth downloading the manual if you're even vaguely interested. It has a lot of features that are not immediately obvious, including, by the way, I think that one does it, MIDI to CV conversion.
Right. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So basically, you just stomp on which channel you want the pedal to control, which channels you want the pedal to control, and then you set up the individual channels to be whatever you want. It could be a control voltage out, it could be a MIDI control out,
Right.
And it could be a few of the sort of automated things that they do.
Why did they discontinue it? I'm wondering.
I have no idea. I can only assume they're going to replace it with something.
Maybe they ran out of parts.
Well, Moog does that all the time, right? That's why they discontinued their delay.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is this what you're talking about, Rachika? This little pad here?
No,
That's
the
horrible.
ones that are numbered.
This one, those are
The
too
one
close
I
together.
tried. Huh?
For me, they're too close together. I constantly hit the next one.
the wrong one. Yeah.
I just first, yeah, that's the first problem. You can't use the upper row. The second one was I tried to set, to just have a on-off on 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, and it was really unreliable. I would step one, I would press down, and it wouldn't do anything. I had to, in the end, look that I get it with my not with my front foot, but with my back foot. Really stomp on it, not just
Do you still have it?
It wasn't mine. It was just something I tried out from a colleague because I wanted to buy one, and then I found out that I can't use it.
To their defense, though, I have to say that the first software was crap, but they really improved the software a lot. So in the first software, it had some erroneous readings and things that were kind of, an off not being registered, so that this next on would not be registered, and then you get this kind of weird latchy situation while you thought that would actually trigger, but it's not triggering. That was something that happened. I remember that in the first version of their software. So maybe it was that. So.
Probably not. It was 2 months ago, and that was the newest software.
Okay, yeah, no, 2 months ago.
So it was. It may be that I'm just to my microcontrol isn't good enough, but I tested it and I thought that maybe it's a little bit too much risk for.
Yes, well, that's the exact same point that I was making. Is you have to be much too careful with these little things to. Certainly, if you're playing on stage, you're probably gonna screw it up. If you're not certain in your living room, on stage, it's gonna be all over the place.
Yeah, right.
Well, can't find what I'm looking for.
There aren't that many though.
Yeah. Highly configurable. There aren't. I still have this one borrowed FCB bearing.
Right.
But with that Uno firmware, you can do a lot of
Yeah,
crazy
apparently.
things.
Yeah. Apparently, if you
Yeah,
change some kind of a chip in there or something like that.
yes, I have that. It's borrowed, so I know the stories and all that, but it's highly configurable. Um, I use this with the scales and the tonics, and it's very easy. Metronome, octave
Yeah.
up, octave down.
The Yamaha one's fairly good and fairly inexpensive if you can find one. The one that has the older of the two of them, the one that has the power supply for the WX5, WX7.
Yeah.
I think it's got a pedal and 8 buttons, and again, you'd have trouble. You'd break your toe if you tried to kick it off the stage. And you can configure the buttons to do just about anything you want. Same with the foot control. And I think it's got at least 3 more foot control inputs. You can just, again, assign to whatever you want. Just
Yeah.
plugs on the back. See if I can find it.
Yeah, the guys that make XFX Fractal Audio also released one. But that's just a bunch of buttons, just like the Voodoo Labs one that I had before, that I still have. It makes you wonder though, because the Voodoo Lab one it feels very sturdily built, and I managed to kind of rack one of the buttons. It's still sort of working, but it always gets loose at one point or the other. So they do have to build that through to insane standards for it to stand the test of time, I suppose.
That probably explains the price.
Yes.
Yep.
And another thing that's really frustrating, you know what, Yamaha FC3 sustain pedal, right?
Yeah, I have one
piece
also.
of shit.
You don't like it, yeah?
Two of them.
Yeah.
The first one is just impossible to use without it squeaking. And I pulled it apart. I put more grease in it, and everything just always squeaks. And the other one, after 1 week, just USB. No, not the USB. The cable here just stops working. So I'll have to open that up again. And I've been looking for a better sustain pedal, but there are none. Well, none that I could find.
I'm not complain about this one, but it does noise and yeah. No.
When I played with the FC3 and I have the microphone on the Alpha, you can hear me singing and going.
Yeah.
Can be an interesting
You should
effect.
incorporate that.
Yeah.
Put some effects on it.
Yeah, the worst part is I actually have a Yamaha Clavinova, which is in their piano line, and all 3 of the bloody pedals squeak. So it's not just their cheap foot pedals; it's everything they seem to have ever done in that range.
I think that these are the ones that ship with the Clavinova also.
Okay.
The same mechanism, actually.
Yeah, they're essentially the same.
Yeah.
Okay, I found what I was trying to say. It's Gordius. It's with a G. Let me put this on. .be. So it's Belgium. Yeah. Do you know that, Kurt?
No,
Maybe it's out.
so.
Yeah, maybe it's outside your door. I know he has 2 models, and I think this is way beyond the pedal board. I would like to have Santa to put this on my shoe.
What does that do?
He has a strange, even connecting that model with this FCB and use the FCB as a switch only. It's pretty crazy, this idea of him.
I have trouble understanding what it actually does.
Oh, take time and you see. There are two models of this, but it's very expensive. So very sturdy, okay, but very expensive.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Right. Well, it's about the same price as all those foot pedals.
Not exactly. That LX giant, it's pretty expensive.
It's cheaper than the Voodoo Labs.
Yeah?
Yeah, Voodoo Labs is €1,000, and the Fractal Audio one is even more, I think. Then you also have, which one is that? Rocktron also makes one, which is like the most expensive foot pedal in existence, I think.
This one, I think I put on my first choice, if I could.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's a gorgeous little giant. I'll have to look closer into it.
And I like that idea of connecting that FCB with this brain that he constructed. The other, how I call it, giant module, I think. Yep.
The Rocktron one sells for $1,200. It's gotten cheaper. It was 1,800 before.
Yeah.
Probably because no one is buying it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I've seen one guy using it. One.
This idea I like, having just a module. That's the brain.
Yes.
And then you connect some pedal board, just a switch. So it's nice also. One can buy a cheap FCB. I see them all around. And connect this with this module. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I guess you could make yourself a MIDI suit and use that too. Just put the connectors in, a sweater, cuffs. I saw a guy in San Francisco doing a very impressive MIDI suit street performance a couple of years ago.
Are people able to be capable of being precise with that? The MIDI
with
suit?
which?
With a MIDI suit?
Well, I mean, he was mostly using it for percussion, right?
Right.
That was his shtick. So, I mean, how bad can it be, right?
Well, it depends what kind of percussion. If you want to go into little nuances and kind of
Timing.
It's a bit like people that were using the Wii controllers, right? To do drumming. I tried it. It works. If you do a demo with it, it works. But then when you try to get rhythm going, it's just too much latency, and you have to be too precise for it to. But maybe with a MIDI suit, it's different.
Well, I mean, all it is pressure points, like, for example, on his elbows and knees and thighs and stuff.
Right. I thought it was.
So he's
else.
basically doing a dance and playing his own percussion.
Yes. Okay, I thought it was something else. Right. I didn't know that existed. I was thinking of something else, that also some kind of a glove or something that
Well, yeah, he actually did have a pair of gloves, and each fingertip also had a MIDI control in it.
Eon Wave makes things like this, I think, called Eon Wave.
Yeah, with talking about again the audio cubes, there's a DJ that has, how you call it, the ears. I think there's the sensors inside. That mouth. I don't know how to say that. But the eyes. I think it's the eyes of the mouse heads. I think there's audio cubes inside there, the sensors.
Oh,
There's
Tim Preppel?
I think, yeah.
On a completely different topic, Gert, you use Reaper, right?
I kind of stopped using it, but I did use it.
Oh, well, why did you stop using it?
Because there was a problem with the pen laws. If you have, I think it's fixed in the well, I'm not sure, but I hope it's fixed in Reaper 4. But in Reaper 3, they had some very weird pen curves. And instead of them being either linear or tapered off, they kind of were hollow.
Oh, that's weird.
Yes, meaning that you got very weird stereo images at times. So I did an album with it, but I didn't use any of their summing actually. I just used it for editing, because I realized that when I went through even the most basic kind of summing in there, the stereo image kind of collapsed. It was weird, very weird. But maybe it's fixed in Reaper 4. I know they were talking about it at that time.
Yeah, if enough people complained about it, I suppose. The only reason I was asking is I'm sort of casting around for something other than Logic, which is what I've used forever.
So you want to do MIDI editing also?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, then Reaper.
Although that's sort of secondary. One of the things I'm interested in is sort of getting rid of Soundflower and doing something which would, without doing an integrated audio device, let me listen to more than one device on the input side.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not
kind of an aggregate audio device, one way or the other. Either it's built in or it's done by the Mac, right?
Sure. I mean, you're right.
So,
although I guess I've just heard rumors about IAC being problematic from a latency perspective.
Oh, you were talking about Soundflower. Soundflower is for audio, and IAC.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah, from a MIDI perspective, I don't have a problem.
Right.
And I am actually talking about audio as opposed to MIDI.
Okay. Well,
in this discussion.
Well, the aggregate audio device is quite good, except on Mac, except that it introduces quite a bit of latency because it has to sync up the clocks and it has to potentially resample. So yeah, I've been trying to stay away from that kind of stuff due to that.
Are you suggesting Soundflower doesn't represent that kind of problem? I guess not.
I don't use Soundflower either. You meaning to go from the Eigenharp into... That's what you're talking about?
Well, so, yeah, what I eventually want to do is have the Eigenharp channels broken out and other audio inputs into a single DAW.
Right.
I mean, it's not a complex or unusual requirement, right?
I use my audio interface for that, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the multi-channel audio interface, it has direct monitoring and allows me to route things everywhere I want. So that's also how I'm doing this stuff here now, is getting the Eigenharp in, microphone in, something else back out, and sending it elsewhere again. And so I found that to be the most reliable solution. I'm using Metric Halo.
So you just pick one of the... Yeah. Yeah, I'm using Motu, and I have to admit that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, so
basically just connecting Eigenharp into one of its inputs.
Yes.
It's the best way, I think, or with a mixing desk or something.
Yeah, we'll have. I just.
And I mean that all started.
Sorry.
Sorry,
I interrupted.
That's okay.
I worked over the weekend on adding multiple audio out on Eigen-D, so it's almost there. So that will be in 2.0.
So yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah. I've been waiting for that. Let's bite the bullet and let's just do it.
Yeah, I remember asking that on one of the seminars, and I thought, okay, that's way too far away, but it's one of the neat features.
Well, I mean, it's obvious for the microphone, but even if you want to do sort of subsequent mix down, it's a better way to record the performance.
Definitely. Yeah, that's what I wanted to use it for also, so that I can still play live but remix afterwards.
Exactly.
And or when I do a live performance, so that's the guy in front of house can treat the microphone independently from the instruments, which is what he definitely wants to do. And subsequently, I really needed it for the CV output that I'm working on. Just having 2 channels is really not that flexible.
Yeah, more than anything else, yeah.
So, yeah, Mike, you were saying, so you were hoping that Reaper would kind of help you with that?
Oh, I was just staring at their webpage, and it looked like they would accept multiple audio in and add them on to different tracks, but I'm not sure. I should just try it.
Yeah, it's free to download anyway, so I doubt they do that. However, I've heard some very good reports from Digital Performer doing that they've got an internal aggregate device that's actually better than the Apple one. So it might be worth it.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be too hard to be better than the Apple one. And this all sort of started when Soundflower went south when I upgraded to Lion.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you can get there are builds floating around from for Lion from recompiled.
Yeah, I found one of those, and all that happened is my system now tells me Soundflower isn't installed. So I guess I should bite the bullet and figure out how to undo the fix. But I just didn't have time, and I just decided, okay, I'll solve this using my sound card, right?
Yes. But I like doing it in my audio interface. The latency is so low, and you're able to add additional routings and possibly some EQ wherever it's necessary, create different sends, and it's so flexible. I actually like using it for that. There's no real reason not to if you have it anyway.
Yeah, well, if you have it and you have enough I/O on the digital side.
Yes. I don't know how much does Motu give you in terms of digital channels?
I don't recall off the top of my head. It's sort of enough, right? So I count. My favorite I/O was one that no longer works. It's the bloody Yamaha 01X. It had like 128 channels of digital I/O.
Was with mixing desk, right?
Yeah, it was really a mixer, but it was a really good I/O unit as well, and a control surface too. The problem is they just stopped supporting it.
Strange how that goes.
Yeah, here on the studio, I like to use this. I have this Tascam DM3003. I don't know what to do with it. Let me see. And everything goes through it, so it's very nice, of course.
Right, I've seen those.
Yeah, and it's those moving shaders I've shown sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very flexible, of course, but I run into big troubles to configuring this all to use on the on the Hangouts. And I think now, but again, I'm changing all this. Sometimes I take stuff out, and of course, when I want some setting, it's never there.
I think it's so funny to see this huge, control surface mixing desk I/O device with then a tiny little USB connector. if you look at it in the back of all the other stuff,
Yeah.
48 inputs and I don't know what, and then USB connector.
I'm using a FireWire card over here, so it's 32 in, 32 out on FireWire.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just decided I was going to separate those two functions. So I've got a Euphonics
Yes.
control surface, and I'm just still using the Motu, which is okay. I mean, the pre's aren't that great on it, but the rest of it's not bad.
That's the
Kurt,
route
can
that
you-
I took also, Mike. But the Euphonics one, they've taken a while for it to be very useful in my opinion. Now it's starting to get there, but they had some very huge bugs in there that kind of lost track of the applications that it was configured for, and there was this one version that you could just not get it to work with anything except for when they moved to Pro Tools, when it got acquired by Avid. I think for about 5 months it only worked with Pro Tools. It's strange, right?
Funny about that.
Yes, Achika, what you had?
Can you both write in the chat what you use as audio interfaces? I'm doing a little document, so I have copied the link, so we can maybe all have it, as a reference.
I stick with RME for a long time. I have 2 of them. One multi-phase. I can put this on. By now, I can connect everything to ADAT in an optical, digital optical. I have one here, also on testing.
I was thinking of getting that one also, Mike. To have a... Is that the one with DC audio?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. To have another interface for the DC audio. But I think they make a smaller one now for that.
They do. And ironically, I got it because I've had such bad luck with FireWire interfaces. I wanted a USB one, but now I only use it on FireWire. This one actually works, so...
I have this one here.
Find mine.
I'm testing this one here and trying to see how DC works with this one.
Oh, I've
It's
got a
The
very...
Echo one.
It's cheap, but I don't know. Got it yesterday to test it.
I've got the first version of the Apogee Duet also, which is staggering how they were able to screw that one up, because they blew the balanced audio circuitry in there. It's kind of, they've got some loops in there that go against whatever balanced audio was designed for.
So you would say the Duet Apogee is bad?
They say they fixed it in the version 2, but I haven't tried it. But I know that the version 1 is not recommended, really not. It's I use it because I have it when I'm traveling, but I would definitely go for, if you want something with that form factor, go for the RME Babyface.
Yeah, I was.
That's I've been drooling over that one, but I don't really need to buy it, so I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's a plasticky surface. That would have been nice if the finish was nicer, but it seems to be a very good product. This one.
I mean, I have Motu now, and I think until I get to use, until I know how to use it right, I will stay with that thingy.
if you see what this Babyface does for the form factor, it's really impressive.
Yeah. And it was one of the first USB interfaces that they put out, I think. Maybe not.
And then I still have this crappy guitar rig audio interface, which is the first one I bought.
Oh God, yeah, I have one of those too that came with Gibson, Firewire thing. It's essentially the same product. Let's see if I can find that.
It's horrible latency, very bad AD conversion.
The one that Gibson ships with their smart guitars, it's got latency of the order of several seconds.
Seconds? Seconds? 1 second is just enough? Several?
Well, what they fake a hexaphonic pickup over a stereo cable. So they basically multiplex 6 separate audio lines on an audio cable.
Ooh.
And then decode it at the other end.
Looks good on paper, right?
Yeah, fortunately they do actually have the MIDI guitar plug on it. You know, the 11 cable thing, the jack that you can use with the Roland devices?
Yes.
That works fine. But if you use the interface they give you, it's just terrible.
Strange.
I also really liked that 410 from M-Audio. Currently it's the 610. I liked it because it ran on the laptop power. It didn't require anything. So it was truly absolutely portable.
Right, which is the case for the Duet also and the Babyface and the Metric Halo devices that I posted also. The ULN2 and the 2882, but not the big one, the ULN8 not. But the 2882 is quite amazing. It's got 8 channels in, 8 audio channels in, 8 audio channels out, with 16 digital channels and AES and SPDIF and ADAT and the whole thing. It all runs over Firewire power, which is quite impressive. With a built-in DSP mixer but don't the Moto interfaces run off of bus power?
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, I think.
What was the question again?
The Moto interfaces, don't they run off of bus power?
I think they do. The recent ones, I think they do.
What do you mean by bus power? Sorry,
the power that's on the USB or the Firewire port.
It works for the Firewire.
Right.
On mine, I have.
It depends. They have mobile products that all run on the connection power, and then they have rack mount ones that don't.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I know mine should run on battery. I mean, not battery. I mean big ones, not the small ones. So, actually, I should be able to take this with me and go microphoning in the wilds.
Yes.
Or something like this. This was sold to me like this.
RME also has a cable that you can connect some crazy batteries with it, and it responds because the electronics are so tolerable. I think.
Yes.
20 volts transformer can run that small one.
I think with basically RME and Metric Halo have the same kind of properties. Metric Halo's kind of, as long as it's very flexible. It's got this whole bracket of power that it can accept where it works with.
Talking about microphone and stuff like that, I have this 4-channel preamp, and I think this is pretty indestructible. I know this one run out of batteries, supplying 48 volts and stuff like that through microphones, and it's very, very good. This is just a preamp, so it's not an interface.
Yes, it's all stuff to drool over, and I like the RME stuff. When you look at it, sometimes I'm thinking I'd like to have one, but I don't need one. So.
Yeah.
This has been an interesting Eigenharp Clubhouse. I don't think we've said more than other than the questions about coding, about OSC. I don't think we've really touched on it.
But I personally haven't touched my Eigenharp since Thursday because I've been playing Skyrim.
Yeah, I've been away for about a week and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, Hurt, the next thing is playing the game with the Eigenharp.
No. It's nice to get back to the Eigenharp afterwards.
Yeah.
I have a pretty busy weekend, but my Pico is always with me, so... but I missed the alpha. But I played a couple of minutes before, so... No big problem there.
Listen, I've been basically so busy. Besides that, look, actually thinking about the CV stuff, how to best do it, and been talking with Andrew from Expert Sleepers, seeing what he does and how it could best fit into the way Eigendy works, and thinking about ways to do that without spending 6 months coding.
Yeah.
Just trying to find the nicest, slimmest design for this so that it fits into the model. It's very flexible and
yeah. And that sorry, Mike. And that crazy idea I've come up using that pedal outfit.
We'll have to try it when things are running.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll send an email to John with this crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually sent him an email not that long ago. He really should do a TED Talk.
He does. Yes, he should.
John, yeah.
Definitely, yes.
I mean, first of all, it'd be great exposure, and secondly, it's sort of a perfect subject for them.
Definitely. I hadn't thought of it, but it's a very good idea. And John is a very good speaker.
Yeah. And I mean, anybody can recommend him. You just go to their site and say, this is a good guy, but frankly, I'm guessing John has a lot of people who they'd listen to before they'd listen to any of us.
Yes. Well, I'll bring it up to him, mention it to him, see what he says.
Yeah, I sent him a note, but I might have sent it to he's got a couple of emails. I'm not sure he reads them all.
He just gets a massive amount of email.
Yeah. But that one, I really think a TED Talk would be interesting, appropriate to TED, and, good business.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. It's a very good idea. I'll bring it up.
Well, plus I'd like to hear it.
We've been toying around with the idea of doing a Hangout year presentation where he would be presenting on the technical side of it could be a dry run for a TED Talk.
Yeah. One of my favorite interviews with him was really early on. It was a two-parter. I don't even think he had an instrument to show off with, I don't know, I put it up on Delicious. I'll see if I can find the links. But, he was really, spent a lot of time talking about the motivation behind Eigenharp.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite lines in it is where he says, it's designed to be breakable. And I think he made the observation that if Les Paul had been an engineer, then most of those sounds would never have been created.
Yes. Which is still constantly part of anything that we design. We've been struggling with that most recently with the workbench, in that you should be able to connect everything to everything and not having it fall apart. Just it can feedback and do strange stuff, but it shouldn't crash.
Yeah, somebody will find a creative way of using it.
Yeah. Well, I started using when I was working this weekend on this multi-channel out. I didn't want to touch the Eigenharp, so I basically started setting up some oscillators that went to different audio channels on my audio interface. And I said, how can I easily see which one's which? And I actually realized that I was already thinking about that before, but I never tried it. But I could just use any of the oscillators as a low frequency oscillator on the volume input of the actual oscillator, and create different modulations of the volumes of those oscillators to see the meters on the sound card behave differently. So I could just wire stuff up in Workbench and then look on the audio interface. Okay, things are working because they were kind of moving differently, right? It's fun to just try that out. Connect the oscillator audio input into the volume input of another one. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried to play with that stereo mixer, I think, but again, not contodo, and I can't go much beyond that. But sometimes I get sad because I can program, so I'm a musician, so that's not my league. But it's fun to
you make great music.
Thanks. Yeah. Hoping.
Okay, I gotta go in like two minutes or so.
Yeah.
Everyone will start arriving here.
Yeah. I have a lunch date that I'm going to be late for. Oh well.
Everybody sees the document. I just wanted to test if this works with the document stuff.
I see no document somewhere. Eigenharp Clubhouse.
Yeah, it's just the links we have posted. It's just to let's say a little tryout.
Oh yeah, that's neat. It does work, by the way.
Cool. Works very well.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
That we have the stuff going. If we do something like this every time, we have maybe a
good idea.
Little history.
Nice.
Cool. Okay.
I can shared it for you, but bye.
Okay. Bye bye.